What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Coach Johnson's YouTube channel. We talk about the power raid, the air raid, spread offensive football, the career and the mindset, the journey that is coaching, especially high school coaching. So I just wanted to make sure to tell everybody, I hope that everybody had awesome holidays. You spent a lot of time with your family and your loved ones, and you're kind of ready to go into 2025 to win the year and make the most of it. So today's video, all right, we're going to talk about kind of the origin of where I've went from running the power raid to why I did it. Was a lot of it had to do with the air raid. All right, so going to kind of go through 3 to 5 different reasons, philosophies of the air raid that I think could help and adapt to anybody's offense if you're looking for a change or you're trying to find something that fits your style, your philosophy, and if you're just trying to break the chains and trying to just think outside the box, the air raid is for you because that's how it was adapted. So for me, the first one is the air raid is just the figurehead that is Hal Mumme and Mike Leach and high scoring offenses. When I was growing up, starting to watch football, that's what you saw. I was in Alabama, thinking about elementary school, maybe almost middle school. And I remember them playing Kentucky, and Mumme was there. And that's when Eric Crouch had those amazing numbers. All right, then they just kept moving on and numbers here, numbers there. And then watching Texas Tech upset Texas with Crabtree, and then seeing all the numbers that Kingsbury and all of them were putting up. Then when you start playing video games, you're playing NCAA, you're playing Madden, and you just want to score a bunch of points. Well, there's nothing wrong with the original run game, and I love to run the ball as well, but it was that electrifying, that fun, that up-tempo, not letting the defense even breathe, just keep going, was the reason why it drew me. And then after high school and college, playing, every one of the coaches that I played for believed in some type of version of the air raid, running the mesh, running cross, stick, snag. And so it was one of those things that all of a sudden I was a fan of it. And then next thing I know is that I was breathing it, living it, almost like it was oxygen and water. So it's fun, it's up-tempo, and that's what really drew me to it. And so kind of going to the screen is, when you're talking about the air raid, is just like you keep it super simple, but you have if and then because of it being a system. And that's what I love about the air raid, is that it is a system that has been proven time and time again to be successful, and it's been branched off. And I have branched off and focused a lot on the Dana Holgerson and the Lincoln Riley, the kind of power raid where you kind of involve, putting the run game as simplified as you are in the passing game. And so one of the first things that you'll put in is why stick. All right. And so kind of going into the why stick and why, this philosophy and the mindset is just, it's the fact that it's not a collection of plays, but it's what the offense is trying to do to a defense. Just like the wing tee and the double wing, and why people go to stuff, a split that veer of going to things that are a little bit different and thinking outside the box. Well, that's what the air raid does as well. Especially if you're in a state or in a conference or in a part of a state that maybe everybody's doing nothing but run the ball because that's just what they've done. Okay. When we were at Pinecrest as an assistant coach, we ran a split back veer because everybody else was running spread. All right. And it was like 2 or 3 air raid teams in our conference, but it wasn't easy to prepare for. All right. And so then last year we were at Northwood. The power raid is everybody ran the ball and nobody threw the ball. And I think we averaged, 30 to 35 attempts a game. That was different for people. And then how to line up and the different formations we used. And so that's what I love about the air raid, is that it's also super adaptable. And that it's easy, it's fun, it's simple, and you can take it to a whole level depending on what you have for your personnel. You can fit it. It's not just a cookie cutter, here's what you got to do type of situation. You have a collection of plays that if you run well and you know how to set them up, it can be explosive. So you kind of start off right here as why stick. Okay. What the air raid is trying to do is you're going to have the defense, no matter what coverage they're in, there's answers for it inside the system. And you're trying to stress the defense out horizontally and vertically. So just from right here with the Y stick, the vertical, okay, it's going to be the MOR, all right, the fade, all right. And the other thing that kind of go into that is a lot of these guys, they run the same routes every day, every week, and they get really good at what they run because it's all about the reps. And I know everybody says about the offense, but that literally is the air raid, trying to keep it simple. So these guys are perfecting their routes. They try to stay in the same spot, so they're making the same cut, the same rep over and over and over again until it's perfected. All right. Mummy and Leach, when they talk to people, they say all the time, inside the air raid, you have to be okay with being bored because you're going to do the same thing over and over again. So you're perfect at it, so that when it's in the game, no matter what a defense throws at you, you've made that adjustment at practice and you've worked on those reps. So right here, like I said, the Z's going with MOR. Your Y is running the stick, and your running back is running either a swing or an arrow. Depends on once again, what your running back does best is whether you run a swing or run an arrow. So now all of a sudden you have a horizontal with that stick and the swing, and your vertical is the mandatory outside release. Then you kind of get into the offensive line. If you do not have an offensive line, air raid's even great for you, okay? And even if they're undersized, you can go to huge 3.5 Stan Bedwell and them have gone to like 5-foot splits, so that's not easy to get to the quarterback, okay? So once again, there's another adaptation that you can make for the air raid is your O-line, all right? Well, then you go into backside. Let's say that people are trying to take away the stick and all that. Well, now all of a sudden you can adapt it to here. They're going to try to press you. Great. You have the fade ball, all right? And then you have your slant, all right? Or if they're trying to keep everybody inside and they're giving you the outside, then all of a sudden you have your fade out, which is another concept inside of the air raid. You can do double slants. You can do whatever that you work on it so much that you can have something on the concept side, and then the backside you are going to beat a coverage or beat the man, any type of zone that anybody's facing, and that's what the answers that are great about it. So as we go with the Y stick, now all of a sudden, let's say people are trying to take that away, and now what you can do, because of it being a system, is now you go to corner, okay? Well, let's say they're trying to take away all the deep. That's great, okay? And now they see that running back. Well, they're thinking stick, okay? Well, now all of a sudden that guy's going to hook up behind him because he's going to be told that he's got to go with that, or he's staying right there and now the running back is wide open, all right? Or the corner now comes down and now you have the corner route. And then once again, you have all your backside stuff, and depending on what they do, you have an answer for it because you work on specific concepts and specific routes depending on what the adjustments are for the defense, and you have your answers for that. Okay, so that is one of your big if-then inside of this system is your stick and your corner. All right, so then it kind of goes into what I also love about it is when you're scripting it or you're game planning it, the air raid is different in the mindset of what balance means. Okay, in a normal old school balance, a balance meant 50% run, 50% pass. Well, in the air raid, it means that you have 5, 6, 7 different guys that are all getting touches so that they can't take just one guy away and now your offense is done. All right, you now have 5 or 6, 7 different guys. If you add in these 4 receivers, you add the quarterback, you add the running back, okay, and now you have another guy or two that can come in and switch it up. Now all of a sudden you have a bunch of different guys that are doing different things. That leaves it very tough for the defense to figure out what you were trying to do because of, once again, the air raid has some concepts that if you're facing a team that all they do is run, it's not going to be fun for them to get ready and prepared for mesh hitting full speed, your shallow cross, all right, going 4 verts if you have a bunch of tall receivers, because there's a reason why people are running the ball. It's a little bit different. It's just like I said, the wing team, double wing, and why people do the power team, do all these different things that is hard for an opponent to get ready for, especially trying to teach a scout team how to do that. Well, now all of a sudden you're trying to tell them how to throw the ball. And if you don't have a quarterback for you to throw it, now all of a sudden you're going to have a coach out there trying to teach or trying to throw it, all right, to receivers that you might not have that are trying to run this system, trying to run the intricacies and the exact, distance and the exact cuts and trying to find the hole in the zone that they're not taught because that's not what they do on a daily basis. It can be a lot to have to adjust to. So the next if then that I love about it, and these are plays that when they're hitting, all right, they're hard to stop. So say that you put in mesh and you have the old school version with your speed outs on the outside, all right, and then you have your mesh in the middle, okay? So now let's say that, all right, let's say they're just trying to crush the mesh, all right, and they're taking away the mesh from you. They're finding a way to sit on these outs, all right? Well, then that's when you go to the cross, okay? Because now what are these linebackers that, once again, they're not being told this is how we do things, all right? That's not how that offense, they're not seeing it every day. So they're being told, take away the mesh, take away anything that goes in front of your face, all right? Well, now all of a sudden you have a dig coming right behind your head, all right, and now you're one-on-one possibly with a safety, depending on what coverage they're playing, and now all of a sudden you score some points, all right? And so then the next adaptation that you make, all right, is Now, great, they're having this backer take away that. Okay, they have the safety getting nosy here. All right, well, you could be a team, prepare for the air raid, and now all of a sudden you're taught, if everybody's coming down and you don't see it very often of your offense, and now all of a sudden you're throwing a bomb to a post because your quarterback can throw it 40 or 50 yards, your receiver can go and get it. That's something that you're not prepared for. Now all of a sudden that's a little bit different. So there's another if-then. They try to take away everything out of the mesh because they know you run it. Great, they're focused on that one concept, and you still, if they're playing man, now you might have the slots that can outrun them and can burn them. Okay, or these guys are running so fast they're good at sitting down inside the zone because that defense is playing the zone because they don't feel comfortable playing man against you. So now all of a sudden you are being the offense and you're being the aggressor, which is another reason why I love the air raid is you're the aggressor. You're the one that is playing the game and putting the defense on their heels instead of being able to play on their toes, and they're not going to be able to play fast, which takes it back to your offense with the way, whether you do a 3 or 4 day install. And that's what you do every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday for the rest of time. And those guys are getting all those reps, boom, 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 boom. All right. Now all of a sudden you're able to play fast. The defense on their toes. All right. Now all of a sudden you're going up tempo. You guys are mismatching them, and that's how you score a lot of points. And we all know you guys outscore your opponent to win games. So far those are the reasons. All right. It's a system that is simple, okay? It's fun. You're going to score. It's going to be up tempo. It's a different philosophical approach than most people because everybody's going to say it. There's 3 things that can happen on a play. 2 are negative when you're passing the ball. Well, that's great. That might work for you, but at the end of the day, you also have to find a way to as the head coach of a program, you got to know what's going to fit your personnel. And that's what I'm saying. The air raid might be able to fit you. If you got a quarterback that can throw it, all right, and you got 4 guys that can catch it, and you get them better because you practice the right way, you're going to be able to run the air raid, and you're going to be able to be successful. Now all of a sudden you throw a quarterback that can run it. You have a pretty good running back. O-line can do some blocking. Then all of a sudden you can build off these branches that have been built to be successful inside of the air raid, which is like power raid, what we run, being able to focus on the run game just like you do the pass game. Because once again, the air raid is be able to be adaptable to what you do. So far, those are a lot of the reasons why I love it. Come back, I got a couple more reasons that we'll talk a little bit deeper into it, and I'm sure they'll probably be controversial, and I'm sure somebody will probably hate on me or hate on the thought or hate on the air raid, because air raid is one of those most talked about, hated on offenses out there. So one of the last couple of reasons of why I think that the air raid and just the philosophical, all right, and the idea of what you can do to help your offense, all right, is the biggest one is the adjusters or the different adaptabilities that you can make inside of the offense. All right, so one is because of the amount of reps you're going to you're going to get the ball out in space to all of your playmakers, which who doesn't want to do that? So it's going to help you recruit the halls. It's going to help you grow your program. It's going to help get kids out there because everybody wants to catch the ball. Everybody wants to be the star. That's what this generation's been taught. It's what society is teaching them is get the ball in your hands. You be the playmaker, all that. So it's going to help you get a bunch of different athletes to be able to play this sport. All right, because of how fast it is. It's up tempo and everybody is touching the ball inside the offense. All right, but then it comes into the opportunity to make big plays because you're doing things that the defense can't stop because it puts a strain on them. So one of them is here we are in our Y cross. All right, so this Y is every day. A lot of offenses, he's working this route every day on routes on air. All right, and usually some days I think it's like Monday. I know that's what we do. It is with stick that's the play that's kind of connected with it because it goes with the fade out. This Y right here is going to run this route 1,000,000 times before he graduates high school. He's going to know that he's got to get under the outside backer, over the mic, all right, and then he has to find a spot, 22 yards, 25 yards, somewhere in that range. Everybody has a difference of opinion depending on your quarterback, depending on what level you are. He's finding on the opposite sidelines on the hashes. And now what he gets to do, because he's ran that route so much and he is wiggling his way through here, he's watching what that safety does, and he already kind of has an idea pre-snap of what he's going to do. So now all of a sudden, he's ahead of what the defense is doing because he has been taught different keys based on how they align. All right, he's now already ran this route 1,000,000 times in his sleep. Now all of a sudden, that safety stays high, okay, and these backers are dropping out. He knows that he's going to find a zone right there. All right, well, let's say these backers are being aggressive. All right, safety's flying out. Now all of a sudden he can curl up because he works on that on settle noose. He works on that on routes on air. Him and his quarterback have thrown this ball probably 10, 15 times at least during practice, and now they know what to do. So it's one of those things. And then backside, depending on what the defense does, okay, you could throw that big post because that safety is coming down onto that cross, and all of a sudden you've worked on that all week in practice, because that's one of the things that you do for 5 minutes right on air is all you're running is Y cross, Y cross, Y cross. And here's what might change. You might have the X all that day is running nothing but mandatory outside releases, especially if it's with stick. All right. And now all of a sudden you tell him to run a hitch. All right. And if you're running the shot concept, which is the hitch slot fade, he's now ran that and has ran that for 5 straight minutes. All right. Now you go to the speed out inside here. Well, now make an adjustment, and now he's running the slot fade. All right. Or he's running a corner route because you're tagging smash on front of Y cross. Okay. Nothing changes for him. Nothing's going to change for the running back. Now all of a sudden Z, one of the adjustments might be, instead of just running that big post, let's say they're staying back. Well, now, because we know this backer's flying out and taking away that running back, he's going to be able to sit in that zone, so you can run that post dig where he's at 8 yards cutting for that post, and now he's sitting, either going flat or sitting straight down on a curl type. So either that post dig where he's sitting on that curl looking for that open area. Now, because they've worked on that route over and over and over again for how many weeks? You've done it during install, you've done it during summer, you've done it during spring, you've done it in preseason. Now, because you're doing what the defense isn't, you're putting a strain on them because you have answers to counter them. And once again, you have the vertical, the horizontal stretch all over the place on both sides of the field. And now you're a quarterback. You know, for a lot of quarterbacks, this looks like it's super tough. All right. But guess what? When you're doing a full field read, at least one concept every day, it's nothing. And you know your pre-snap all the way through your post-snap of where you're supposed to go with it. So that's another reason. Okay, now here we are going into 4 verts. It looks super simple and everybody runs verticals, right? Well, other than run and shoot, the air raid's one of the only other ones that have different rules, whether you're falling out, whether you're curling up, okay, whether you're taking a post. Every different offense, depending on what skill level you have on an offense and what your personnel is, you have different checks inside of it. Once again, just like we just talked about in the Y cross, we talked about earlier, is whatever the defense is doing, now all of a sudden you can take your number one concept, something that you're getting really good at, and now because you've worked these reps during practice, let's say that they're just straight bailing out, all right, and then you have your Tampa 2, so they're taking away that, the backers are flying out, all right, well now all of a sudden you just curl up, all right, and he gets that ball out in space, and now he's between because the corner's going there, safety's there, backers dropping into there, and now all of a sudden there's nobody there. He catches it, and now he's in space. Again, playmakers in space. They've talked about that. It's like basketball on grass because it's up-tempo, you're playing fast, and you've worked on all those reps. Now your guys are playing faster than the other team, okay? Then the last other one is here we are in sail. We can run sail a bunch of different ways. You can run it 3x1. All right, you can run it when in two back set. You can do a run 2x2. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can dress it up. So we talked about this in another video, and that's why one of the things that I love about the air raid is the fact that you can just set up and run it a bunch of different ways. So you can have to where you're in your 2x2, and now your running back is now the guy coming into a 3-man flood, and then you have your shallow coming to the back, and now you have your dig. Well, now you can change it up. And here's the best part. You don't have to change the running back's alignment. Now all of a sudden, let's say that he is doing the run fake, and now he is pass pro into the shallow or into the swing here, and now you have him running your shallow. So now there's a different ways. Now you're showing a little bit of type of play action, and now let's say that your quarterback is rolling out off of that, and you have the H coming across. So now all these guys are focusing on these 2 routes, and now all of a sudden you're shallow. Well then, to add this a little bit more, is now you change up your formation. You cut him down a little bit more. They're taking away that side of it. This safety, maybe he's playing back. All right, he's dropping out, or he jumped the sail route. But now all of a sudden you have this dig coming on the backside off of all that rollout, and now it looks like play action. You can roll it out a bunch of different variations. So it's adaptable. So I know I've talked really fast. I'm very passionate about it. it's not a collection of plays. And I know there were people that kind of jumped on my last video, which I never said that the air raid was the silver magic bullet that's going to fix everything. And don't just take the air raid plays because it's more than collection plays. I understand that. That's why I run the air raid. That's why I run the power raid. I've studied it, listened to all the different, listened to the courses, been on the courses, have talked about it, been on the channels, been on podcasts. I live and breathe the air raid, run the power raid because of what I've been able to have in different places. I understand it's not a collection of plays. Nobody ever once said that. It is definitely a mindset and it's a philosophy. And that's why I love it. And that's why I think that it could help a lot of teams because of breaking the change from the old traditional way of thinking. You are now getting playmakers and skill guys. You get other athletes from the school out on that football field. Tell them that it's like playing basketball, that they're going to get a chance to make plays. And now all of a sudden you get 4 wide receivers. You get a baseball player playing quarterback. A lot of things can happen, and it can be a lot of fun. You can score a lot of points, and it can help you build a program. It can help you take an opportunity to flip the rock over, and all of a sudden you're having success. So it's fun. I mean, you have Mike Leach and Hal Mummy as the poster boys for the air raid. I mean, they are wild, crazy characters, and rest in peace, Mike Leach. He's one of the funniest guys, and just humble all around. This is why the air raid can definitely help you. All right, you're going to score points. It's fast, it's fun, it's simple, it's adaptable. You're putting a lot of strain on the defenses horizontally, vertically. They're having to prepare for you compared to a lot of other things. Might be a lot different than what their offense does. Those are the reasons why the mindset of the air raid can help you and can help your program if you fully invest into it. But it's not just a collection of plays, but there are plays that are in every playbook because of how well it works and how simple it is, and because people want to have things that have been successful and have been able to pass through time and constantly be successful, even with the changing of the guard of defenses. So that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like it, share it. Definitely hit me up. Go ahead if you got something to say it, because I'm telling you, when you look it up, this is the reason what the philosophy of the air raid is, and there's so many branches off of it. You can find a way to be successful and to adapt it to your program, which is why you need to focus on the air raid, which is why I love the air raid, which is why I tell anybody, if that's an offense to run, take a look at it if you got skill guys, because you can have a lot of fun. It can help you bring that spark and bring that magic to the football field.